All right. Something I was ignoring for about a week or so, and let's talk about the Jericho 941 FOSP ORP whatever. So I'll actually have the video. It'll be right after this rambling about first shots. I zeroed this gun and I took it out and I was doing those drills I said I was gonna do. So I'll just talk about that real quick because I got interrupted while I was out in the desert. Some random people showed up, and I don't like mixing in while I'm shooting, and they want to come shoot, and it was kind of awkward. They kind of wanted to be where I was at, which I don't understand. That it's hundreds of acres out there, but anyway, so since then I ended up getting these VZ grips, the real aggressive one. I think they're like the bogies or whatever. They really were pretty sharp. So when I would come across and crush with the support hand, I was getting, as you can see, some indentation, whatever. So to fix that, to kind of get them where I wanted, all I did was simply take um, a flat file and just kind of in one direction, just take a little bit off until they're right where I want them to be. So they had some real sharp ends on them. So I like the aggression on them. I just wanted to kind of tailor them to how I wanted. So the video is the first shots. Like I said, I zeroed at 10 or 15 and then confirmed at 25 to see where I was at, and then went into one shot return and then doubles. So it'll basically be draw one shot, return the sights with your eyes, and just make sure you're not putting too much information back into the gun. And then smash on the doubles in single action. And then I think I drew also went doubles from the holster. Then I did like a lot of one shots, draw to one shot, just for the double action, because when I was doing the doubles and the first drill, I noticed a lot of shots were low. So I was like, is that my first shot, or is that one of the other consecutive two? So turned out it was the long double action. So I was slightly pushing down. I think I was only like at 5 yards. So I was actually pushing down a little bit too much on that first shot. And so I just try to isolate just by that, just to see what that first shot was. And after a while, I just noticed I needed to put a little bit more input with my support hand just to make sure it was where it needed to be, and then just slowly roll in on that trigger. Um, so yeah, the video is like 9 or 10 minutes long or something. So I'll try to keep this short. So I will be shooting this probably soon, maybe next year, for carry optics. First impressions, I can totally see why people use the CZ75 platform or whatever you call this. The Shadow 2, I can totally see why people use it. This thing, when it was in the single action, I was hammering down. The splits weren't fast, but I was trying to be aggressive as I could for a new gun, and the groups were just tight. They were just there. It wasn't a lot of information. The dot wasn't dancing around all crazy. I had to do very, very little to keep the gun going to keep the bullets going where I wanted, as well as the sights. Very, very little, very, very little input for that. And like I said, I can see how that would multiply at distance, uh, getting some faster shots the further you go out, and then the groups just being right there where it is. So it is a bit of a cheat code, as they say. But yeah, I'm happy to jump into this at a reasonable price, actually very affordable compared to the Shadow 2s. And it came with the plate already, so I don't know how well that's going to hold up. We're going to find out. I don't really see no issue with it yet. I don't think there is anything. I witness marked the screws and stuff. I ended up having to get some aftermarket screws from Ace Hardware, because the ones that came with it, this end on the vortex, it's not as open as this, so the screw wouldn't go all the way down. So I just got some better screws, and hopefully we have no issues. But yeah, and then since last week, the guide rod and the spring came in, so the brass guide rod, and I think I'm using the heavier of all the springs, and I haven't shot it yet. So all the shots in this video that you're about to watch are of uh, completely stock. The hammer spring is completely stock. So is the heavy 10 plus pounds or whatever, and then the guide rod was stock and everything was great, other than getting past that heavy, rolling through that heavy first shot, that double action. Yeah, so these grips are a little bit thicker, but this isn't, none of this setup yet is in this video. This is the first shots. But like I said, I'm excited to see what I can do with this coming up. And I ended up getting the Cajun Gunworks. I think it was the hammer spring. It was 13 pounds. And then I was asking a buddy, and I think people are using like 8s and 7s. I was like, holy hell. So I didn't even think about that. I just didn't want to go too low for the reliability. So I don't know what the stock one is, but the other options was 15, 13, 11, and 5, 11, 5, and then like down to 8. So I started with the 13, and they're only like $8 or $10 or something. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'll probably pick up some more and then kind of adjust. The trigger return spring, I did not replace because the one in this was a real long one that looked like any other striker fire gun. The one I actually bought was a real small one, and I think maybe that's the one they use in the Shadow too, or the extended firing pin. So I'll sort that out before I change that. So I don't even know how reliable this one will be with the 13 pounder, and no change to the the trigger return spring or whatever. No, not trigger return spring, the firing pin spring. And then I don't know what it's going to be like with the new recoil system, but I have lighter springs for that. I bought the whole kit, which was like 4 different sizes. So I can experiment with that. I'll probably buy some different hammer springs and then maybe get the extended firing pin. I just have to do a little bit more research and see what's what. So some of these guns are, I don't know what all the parts are. So when I look up something, it says if you're going to buy something for this gun, don't buy the Shadow 2, buy the CZ75 something. Then when I bought the grips, I found out it's Shadow 2 grips. So I don't know. I still got to figure all this out. But anyway, I'll have more videos on this coming up. And I really like the way that looks with those grips. I only bought these because I was able to get them for like $50. So to my house, they were like $65 shipped. Very aggressive, added some width because I felt that gun did need a little bit, little more girth, as they say, just to give me something to hold on a little bit more with my support hand. And then, but I think the option is getting something with some weight, some brass ones. Who's the brass company that everybody gets from? Lock Grips. So I'll probably be going with some kind of palm swells, but I'm gonna try to reach out to people that are shooting these. There are a number of shooters at our local clubs that are shooting the CZs. So maybe they'll let me, Bill, borrow his gun so I could check the palm swell, whether he has the high or the low, and then I can kind of get a difference. So if he only has one, then I can see, and Ninja has some too. So I don't know which ones they use, highs, lows, whatever, but maybe I can get a grip and see which ones I prefer. So if I don't like the high, maybe the low would probably be better, and vice versa. And then maybe go with the magwell too, mixing it with the grips. I got to do a little bit more research because it's real confusing on how to buy stuff for this gun. So I think I need to get shorter grips so to accommodate for the magwell that goes on. It's a little confusing. Not really up to date on the CZ game. But anyway, so this is going to be a 20-minute video, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. So watch the first shots and the first drills, and there'll be more to come. Subscribe, comment, leave stuff in there, and tell me what you think this gun needs as far as the internals and stuff, and which direction to go, because I don't have a clue yet. So so anyway, enjoy the video. All right, as promised or whatever. Anyway, I got the
the Jericho out. The Jericho FORP. I think that stands for optic ready pistol, and then the F being full size. So that's the Jericho 941. Pretty sweet deal I got on it at S&G Tactical here in Tucson. Told my wife last night I should get a second one. Excuse me. And then this morning they send out the flyer for the day or for the weekend, and it's bold red letters across it, sold out. So for anybody that picked these up, however many they have, good for you. This is probably going to be a nice pistol. I ended up taking the 507C off, I believe is what it was. The smaller hollow sun that used to be the deal back in the day before the big windows came out. And I went and got screws for the Defender XL since I don't have anything to put this on. That was going to be the Glock, but that's another project I'm going to probably push to the side until I figure out what I want to do with that, with the Glock 49. So I fired this gun quite a bit in the last week that I've had it, to try to get ready for that double action, kind of roll through that double action. I ended up getting a holster, black Scorpion holster off of Amazon. It shipped pretty quick, but it was all deformed. So they shipped it through the postal service, the regular mail carrier, and it was all whatever. So I had to heat it up and get it straightened out. Not too happy about that, but anyway, I have a holster. I have my other belt that I haven't been using for a while. I got extensions coming that should be here today. A Henning one, and then the Terran Tactical ones will be here soon. I ended up getting another mag. I can't remember the name of the company. Defenders something. I don't remember. I ordered the silver Metgar or CZ mag that was $47. These are $25. They sent me a black one and tried to pull the old okey doke on me. So not cool. I should have two for that price, or give me my proper mag. So I emailed them and haven't heard back yet. So we'll see what comes of that. So I didn't take that out of the box. I want to see what's going to happen to that. So I only have two mags. I should have three. But by next week, I should have extensions and everything. Even though this gun is not going to be ran, something bothers me about the grips are plastic. They have a little bit some funky pattern on there, but it still feels pretty slick. So I do have the chalk or whatever. So we're gonna see what this gun does. I did zero it when I first got out here before I started shooting my drills, and then my focus today was the Staccato, the HD. So I made sure I took care of that before, and then checked the zero on the Staccato. So I didn't want to mess with this gun yet. So I'm going to keep it pretty simple. Like I said, I think what I'm going to do is draw, do one shot return, and then a hammer, a pair, and then holster up. That's the only way I can think of how I want to try and see what it's like for that double action. I have some hammer spring and trigger, the firing pin spring or whatever, firing pin or anything, whatever. You're supposed to change one and change the other to account for all that. So I forgot which size I went with, 13 or 11. I think it was 13. 15 was the highest option. So I didn't want to go too crazy because I don't know too much about it, and the price wasn't too crazy. So I can always talk to other people, see what they do, and then go from there. But that might be something I try. But nonetheless, I wanted to try this gun completely stock. I did get I have in my box the brass guide rod and the 4 set of springs for this, so I can tune that when I get everything in. But today I'm just gonna see how this gun runs. And roughly 5 yards apart, 5 yards away, and let's see, yeah, about 5. And there's gonna be my paster, my focus, my aim point. So this will be where I aim. So I'm gonna draw at match speed roughly and go one shot, and then try to hammer 2 and just see what it is. Maybe I'll experiment with different levels of confirmation. The first one is going to be what it is. I'm having now, I didn't dry fire with this optic because I just put it on last night, but it's coming in a little bit high. This and the staccato are different, so I was mostly running the staccato. Sun's coming out right now, it's burning my neck. So I look goofy, but whatever. It's coming a little bit high, so I'm just trying to get the feel for that double action. I think Langdon, whatever his name is, that does the Beretta and stuff, Langdon Tactical, whatever, I forget his name, full name, whatever. I think he does a video. He has a video that says "Do not fear the double action," and a lot of people tell you it's not as bad as you think. But we're gonna figure that out right now for myself. So, yeah, why not just go straight into it? You're not press checking this thing with that hammer down, so I think the best thing to do is pull that sucker back and whatever. And then I gotta start with the double action. So I think a lot of people pinch this back here. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think this seems big enough. So let's try and see by pulling it back down, hitting the trigger, and letting it ride forward. Okay, so that was pretty safe. So let's get to it in a second. Timer back on. All right, let's see what we get here. All right. Shot, the first shot was a 136. I did not see the sights. Let me turn this up a little bit. There we go. That might help as I get comfortable with the gun. So here we go. Shot, the first shot was a 119. That's not terrible. So then I paused for 4.6, and then the split was a 2.4. So I'm going all over the place. I'm not sure. Let me shoot one and see if that first shot is low or if it's somewhere in there else. So I got 3 high and 3 low. So let's just do one shot on the double action. Yep. That first shot is going super low. So let's try that a couple more times. I got 2 mags. I got a couple mags. All right. Just got to make sure I get that support hand in there. The sights were high. Yeah, I can see the fear of people on that first shot. I'm not really worried about it because this is what I'm trying to figure out right now. But this is well past my trigger meter reader, whatever, maxes out at 8 pounds, and this is I pulled through it and I was way past the 8. It was, so this has got to be 10, maybe 12 pound trigger. So let's just finish this mag on some draw the first shots here. There you go, right on it. It's getting hot now with this hood on. All right, let's go back to the bang. Oh, let's just do doubles. No bueno. I cracked off a 19 right there. Somebody showed up right here.